Hey, foamies, the Into the Flow podcast starts right now. Hey, foamies, this is Gabe from Gabe's Spotless Window Cleaning, and I'm here on the Into the Flow podcast with Ryan Johnson. And Ryan, you're the owner of the Window Ninjas out of Gilbert, Arizona. Thanks so much for joining us. How's everything going?
Everything's going well. Thanks for having me, Gabe. Happy to do this.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. And we look forward to getting to know you a little better and talking about your business. I do have just wanted to find out exactly how you got started. I know you're pretty young. You're 22 years old, right? And you get your own business. And how did you get to
Yeah,
what
I'm
gave you the idea of starting
22.
your own business?
Yeah, so I started a little over 2 years ago altogether in my hometown. So I, right out of high school, I mean, like 3 weeks out of high school, I went on a mission for my church. So I spent 2 years in the state of Washington teaching people about God and how to come closer to Him and serving a lot, which was a great, fantastic experience. As soon as I got home, I got a job as a busser at a Mexican food restaurant in Safford, Arizona. Um, I was there about a week before I decided that I wanted to do my own thing. I actually had a buddy up in Utah who does window cleaning as well. Well, he actually doesn't do it anymore. But he did at the time, and he kind of told me about it and kind of told me about what's possible with it. And so I just was like, sure, I could try that. I didn't actually even know that that was a thing. I didn't know that people hired window cleaning companies. Being from a small town, there wasn't a window cleaning company around, so it was something that was very foreign to me. I'd never touched a squeegee before, or the only time I touched a squeegee was to like squeegee the shower door.
Right.
But so I just pretty much learned from my friend and learned from YouTube how to clean windows and started there in my hometown. But pretty quickly, I realized that I wasn't going to be able to grow more than like a owner operator size business there in my hometown. So last May, so about 16 months ago now, we moved here to
Okay.
the Gilbert area and restarted.
Wow.
And so yeah, but it's definitely been the right move for us, and I'm definitely glad that we did it when we did. I wish we would have done it a little earlier, even.
Well, hey, starting at 22 is a pretty good that's a pretty good beginning. But
Right.
I know what it's like
Right.
to wish that, after you know what it's like to own a business and how profitable it can be compared to working, minimum wage somewhere. You do wish you would have started earlier, but that's really awesome. What do you think gave you the mindset to be able to, have the determination that's needed to run a business at such a young age?
You know what's funny about it is I never really saw myself as being a business owner. In fact, I was planning on going to school to be a dentist, which I guess I would have been a business owner eventually with that, but not for like 10 years from now. um, but I always have been a super hard worker. I played sports all through high school. Basketball is one of my loves. It's one of my favorite pastimes and something that I've spent thousands of hours doing
I
in the
bet.
gym playing basketball. So I've always definitely been a hard worker, and when I was bussing tables, that was really my first real job. I had a job as a lifeguard in high school, but I played sports, so I didn't really have time to work very much. And I pretty quickly realized that I was not a good employee. I really didn't like that other minimum wage workers were telling me what to do all the time and telling me that I suck and wasn't doing my job right. So I pretty quickly realized that it was right for me, but it's kind of funny that it just kind of stumbled upon me, and now it's
Mhm.
obvious that it was the right move for me and that it's where I'm meant to be. But it's kind of funny how I got there kind of on accident almost. So
Sure. Sure. Well, I don't know you personally, but I've been following you for, probably about a year now on social media and just kind of seeing your rise. For those who don't know, we live in cities that are about an hour and a half apart. So our area is very similar, very similar clientele, very similar climate. We deal with a lot of the same issues when it comes to cleaning windows. So it's been neat to see your growth, just even over this short year, you can already see how well your business is going. So, I mean, tell me a little bit about how, how it's been for you on that end, coming over to a new city, not really knowing how things are going to go, starting a business, and now seeing your growth in just such a short time, just, year and a half.
Right. Yeah, I mean, looking back on it, I mean, it was a little more scary than it was in the moment. We pretty much, my wife and I, we had been married for like 6 months when we moved, and we pretty much spent all of our savings to get here and like put the deposit to rent our house. And I bought a box of 10,000 flyers and didn't know a single person here. I mean, I have a couple family members here, but not ones that I've cleaned for or have hired
Sure.
us or anything. So we moved here with basically no money. And as you know, Gabe, in May, that's when, well, May, June is when we'll start to slow down.
Yep.
For those of you that don't know, here in Arizona, this year wasn't too bad, but typically we get
No.
pretty bad monsoons where it'll rain a ton, we'll get crazy dust storms, and almost everyone wants to push off cleaning until after it's over. So once end of September, October hits, we get slammed. So we moved in the middle of the worst time, which was May, and my wife and I, by hand, would put out 10,000 flyers a month. Pretty much, if we weren't cleaning anything, we were putting out flyers, and that's how we started. A few months in, we found out that my wife was pregnant, so she stopped working with me, and so I was on my own for a little while before I hired. But yeah, I mean, looking back, it's kind of scary that we moved here with basically no money and no clients, but we made it work. And looking back on it, if I go look at my revenue the first few months, I don't know how we made it work, but we did. So
Yeah, that's the way. That's those first few years and months. Those are always the ones that you, like you said, you don't want to really look back and see what you went through during that time. Um,
right.
so well, I do definitely want to get into the marketing part and the mindset of being a business owner, because I think that's something that you really do exemplify as far as a new business owner is concerned. But you mentioned you have a wife. You mentioned you have a daughter, is that, or a son? Is it
Yeah, daughter. So
daughter?
she's actually 8 months old tomorrow.
Yeah.
So she's
So
very young. We're learning how to be parents. We're trying our best, at
are
least.
you getting sleep yet, or is she sleeping through the night, or is she still up at all odd hours?
Yeah. So I mean, about 4 or 5 months in, she started sleeping through the night. We did a little
Oh,
sleep training with her, but she's kind of been regressing a little bit
oh, has
lately.
she?
So,
Oh, yeah, that happens. Yep.
but if it's still not bad, I mean, we still put her down at 7, and lately she's been waking up at 4 or 5. So it's better
Uh,
than sleeping for
oh,
2 or 3 hours and
that's
then waking up. But
exactly. It's
for
better
a
than
while
one,
there, she
two in
was
the morning.
sleeping from 7 to 6 or 7. But hopefully we'll get back to that. Yeah, she's regressed a little bit, but I mean that's all part of the deal, right?
Exactly, exactly. No, yeah, that's really good, man. Be thankful for that. Believe me, that's
Oh
awesome.
yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the balance that you have to have, because I mean, like you mentioned, obviously starting a business, there's a lot of uncertainty anytime even within the first 3 years of a business, there's uncertainty, and your operation has grown pretty fast. I mean, that's got to add a lot of stress. So, what are some things that you do to try and make sure you keep the balance between work and family?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's a lot better now for me than it was at the beginning. I mean, thankfully we scaled to the point now where I don't spend a ton of time in the field, but I still do spend a ton of time at the office or putting out flyers. Still, I just started doing flyers again after we kind of went away from it because I got so busy doing the work myself.
Hmm.
But I think the most important thing with that work-life balance is you and your spouse being on the same page. Um, I think it's really easy for you as a business owner to see it as what you're doing is for your family, but and you're spending a lot of time in the business and you're doing that for your family. But sometimes your spouse may not see it that way. They may see it as I don't know what they would see it as, but they may not see that you are really trying your best and working hard for them.
Hmm.
And they kind of see it as okay, you have a business where you have freedom of your time, so you should be home more often. So I think one thing that really helped my wife and I a lot is just having that conversation, like sitting down and letting her know, like I need to spend this time in the business so that we can grow this business to where it's going to provide the life that we desire and the life that we want. So that's why I think just that communication is crucial, and it's something that I figured out pretty early on in business, which I'm super grateful for.
That's great. That's really good. So, how does she feel it now? I mean, have you guys kind of come to a happy medium, or is it still something you guys have to work on?
I mean, it's definitely something that we're always working on, and my wife is amazing. She is such a big supporter. Anytime I get down about business, which is constantly, she's always there to lift me up. But yeah, it's definitely always a work in progress. Like I said, thankfully, I don't work as much in the field anymore, so I'm able usually once a week I'll take about a half day off and
Hmm.
just go spend time with her, and then I never work on the weekends, which is nice. So we really have it pretty good. Like we're very blessed, but of course it is a work in progress always.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, I think with my situation, like you said, we're busy. We don't. I haven't worked the weekends in forever. It's been a long time. And once in a while, we'll have a big project in which we work. But that was something that was important that I didn't want to have to go do jobs on the weekend. I didn't want to have to rely on that to be able to make ends meet. And then, like you said,
Right.
just making sure you have time. I'm really, I'm trying to get off of the glass. That's my goal as well. I know you had mentioned that was something that you wanted to do, as well as to work towards where you're focusing on the business as opposed to the work of actually cleaning windows, right?
Right. Yeah, and that's pretty much where I've been. I mean, I may spend one day a week or so in the field right now, and it's only coming on just when we work on a big project or like um, one thing that we do that's a little different is actually run one man crews. So I don't know if any of you on here know me or whatever, but we have two vans and two employees, so they run separate. And so every once in a while, like Gabe, as you know, sometimes you'll run into huge houses with sunscreens on every
Mm-hmm.
window.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of
Yeah.
you that don't know, sunscreens are they cover the entire window and they're designed to keep the sun out, but they're super hard to clean sometimes, and they can
Yeah.
be it doubles the amount of screens on the house because the whole window is covered rather than just the pane that opens. So every once in a while, you'll get on a huge house like that, and I'll go help one of them because I don't want them to have to ladder up, take the screen down, bring it down, clean it, go back up, clean the window, go back down, grab the screen, go back up and clean it, or put it back on because sunscreens have to be removed from the outside. So you can kind of see how that would be difficult. So in situations like that, I'll go work in the field, or if we ever have big projects or whatever, I will. But for the most part, I don't work in the field very often, which is something that I'm grateful for. But it is nice to get out in the field every once in a while. It'll be nicer once the weather's a little cooler
Yeah,
here in
yeah,
Arizona.
absolutely.
We're
Okay,
still dealing with 100-degree weather, so.
okay, here's the question that all Arizona window cleaners ask each other. What is your method of cleaning the solar screens?
So we use Screen Magic. I'd be curious to see what you use, Gabe. Screen Magic is basically it's like an oily. I don't even know what it is. Just like a thing that you can spray on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, I guess it's like conditions it and stuff. So that's what we use. We use Screen Magic on them. I'd like to find something cheaper because Screen Magic is super expensive, but
But do
we
you have
charge for it
issues?
too. So I mean,
Yeah, do you have issues though with Screen Magic, like just collecting dust and collecting lint? I mean, that was kind of my issue with Screen Magic, because I felt like within a week it was not looking new anymore because of the oil base. It was like attracting things and holding on to, as opposed to just a regular clean screen. Do you find that, or is there something you do to kind of avoid that?
I mean, we haven't found it to be that quick, but after a few months, we found it to kind of look back how it did before we cleaned
Yeah.
it. Which, I mean, it's one of those things where we're gonna go clean them again, which is good for us. But yeah, we also want to deliver a quality product. But what do you
Yeah.
use, Gabe?
I just use soap water and a horsehair brush. I buy like a big, it's about maybe a foot and a half long horsehair brush. I did have one of the those screen cleaner machine things. I think I had
Hmm.
the zero one. Those don't work real good with the solar screens. They work pretty good with the bug screens. But we have so much dust in our area. It just seemed like it wasn't doing anything. It was like
Right.
I had to dust the screens first before I ran it through the machine. So we dust the screens first with, I have like a flat microfiber pad. We dust them and then we line them up, and with the hose, spray them down. We wash them with the horsehair brush. Rinse it off, and then we let it air dry, and then we put it up. And that's pretty much how I've always done it. And I've tried different things to try to get away from that method, but it just seems like it's the only thing I can do where they look decent when I'm done. Every other thing I've tried, I've been disappointed with the results. Now the customer has been happy in most cases, but for me personally, I'm not happy with it. I feel like the horsehair soap method is is the one that really leaves it looking as best, as good as
I'm on a
possible.
podcast. Sorry, Gabe. My employee Ramon just got back from a super long day. He's a
Oh,
rock
no sweat.
star. You want to say hi, Ramon?
Ramon.
Good,
Good, man. How you doing?
good, thank you.
Thank you. See you tomorrow. Yeah, he had a quite a day today. One of those days, but yeah, that sounds like a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah,
It
we
is,
have
and I'm
was
constantly
as well.
always, yeah, I'm always looking for something else. I'm looking for the one person to tell me exactly, something that I'm happy with. But I mean,
Right.
obviously you do what as long as the customers are happy, that's what's important.
Right. Yeah,
But
and we do use the zero screen cleaner for all bug screens.
mhm.
That is our process for cleaning bug screens, and it does work. But yeah, for the sunscreens, it doesn't even do it. It'll just leave like swirls of dirt in them. It doesn't
Yep.
work. So
Well, and that's the thing. It's like the sunscreens are great for keeping the house cool, but then in our area we have so much dust, and then just by their design they hold on to the dust. It's just such a
yeah,
catch 22. Do you want your house nice and cool, or do you want your screens to look nice?
yeah. We hate cleaning sunscreens, but we do sunscreens as well. So Ramon, who's just in here, he
Oh,
does all
nice.
of our screens.
Oh,
We
awesome.
love installing sunscreen because the super high profitability, high
Absolutely.
tickets. We just
Absolutely.
hate cleaning them. So
so
I guess
so
that's a
did you
I guess
hire
those two things don't go together since we're putting more out. But
did you
they're
hire
not too bad when they're newer. Clean them. It's when you get to the ones that are 10, 15 years old that are really hard to
Oh,
clean.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. And did you hire Ramon with knowing that, or did he learn how to do the screens?
yeah, so Ramon, he's been doing window cleaning and screens his whole career. I think he's in his mid 30s, and he started when he was 18.
Hmm.
So I hired him, and when I hired him, we didn't offer screen installation, but he let me know from the beginning that that is something that he was capable of doing. So
Nice.
we added it this summer, which is actually a perfect add-on for us, as we just talked about how we slow down a lot in the summer. Sunscreens get really busy. So
Hmm.
this summer he was doing screens pretty much every day, and my other technician was cleaning every day.
That's
Um,
awesome.
and now screens have slowed quite a bit down, so they're both cleaning every day now. But
Sweet.
yeah, Ramon he's a very valuable employee of mine, and I'm super grateful to have him. Both of my employees are awesome. We went through a couple bad ones to get to them, um,
Be
but it's
thankful it
worked
was
out for
just a
sure.
couple, man. Be thankful it was just a couple.
Right? Yeah, I know.
That's
I mean, and people, everyone says that too, and so it's just kind of has happened that way where we just have a couple really good employees that have been with us for a little while now, and we're thankful to have them for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really good. You had mentioned that you have kind of you do one man crews and you pay commission, right? Is it full commission or is it percentage commission of their paycheck?
Yeah, so we actually run a full commission pay scale, and so like I said, we run one man crews. The only time we'll send two is on big projects, or like I was just explaining with the big two-story houses with sunscreens, and then they'll split the commission. But what we do is a 25% commission. And then we shoot for $100 per man per hour. So typically our technicians are making $20 to $25 an hour. We try to allow them, or what our goal is to do, about 750 to 800 a day each. So they'll be making a little less than 200 bucks a day plus tips. And they both of my employees, they get tons of tips. Like, I mean, they'll have days where they'll get over $100 in tips, which is crazy when you're already making 200 bucks in a day. $300 a day cleaning windows is not bad for an employee at all.
Right.
So yeah, that's what we do. It's worked really well for us. We run into problems every once in a while with when we get callbacks. It's on their time to go back and fix it, which thankfully isn't very often. But they understood that going in, that like
Hmm.
they're almost running as a business owner, in that they go do the job, they get paid for it, and if the customer's not happy, they have to go back and fix it. So,
So
but of course that's always going to happen, but it's pretty minimal for us, which is good.
you have two employees, and so are they're both skill wise, they're both about the same, or is Ramon kind of the senior tech?
Yeah, so Ramon's been with me longer. He's been with me probably 5 or 6 months now, which seems like forever through a coronavirus and everything. But and then Nick, the other guy, has been with me just like 2 or 3 months now. But they both had experience prior. Actually, I hired them both. They both called me. So
Wow, that's
I
great.
don't know. The odds of that are probably very, very little that
Very
I'd have
slim.
two
Very slim.
two of two employees that came that way. But
Generally, when I've had calls, I have hired some people, who have called me looking for work. Um, but I just find that those are people who that's what they do. They just call around, and they don't stick in one place for
right,
very long. So the fact that you have two that are happy where they're at and sticking around, I mean, that's really something. And good workers, because
right, yeah,
I've had some that try to work the system. They're just going to do enough just to not get fired. And it's just there's such an anchor when you get someone like that who you don't they don't give you a reason to fire them, but they also are just sucking the life out of the joy out of the other workers and slowing down and
absolutely.
it's just it's a hit. So
Yeah, these two employees, I mean, they're a huge part to our success so far. Actually, the other day we had something pretty cool happen. One the younger technician I have, Nick, he missed a window on a house, and the customer, because he had texted the customer letting her know he was on the way, and she was super happy with the rest of the house. He just missed one window. Customer texted him. He went back and fixed it, and I didn't know about it until like 2 days later. And so that was really cool to me. Like I was able to not even know what was going on, and he was able to service a customer, make them happy, miss something, went back and fixed it without me even knowing.
that's
The
awesome.
lady reached out to me a couple days later and just said, like, Nick was awesome. I just wanted to let you know I reached out to him. He had missed something. He came back a couple hours later and fixed it. And he didn't feel the need to tell me, and I think that shows a lot about his character. I mean, he's not doing stuff like that to just to show off to me or whatever, but just because he really cares about the customers, and that's why he gets tipped so well, both of them. I mean, today Nick himself, he made like $130 in tips after
Sweet.
making already $200 on the day. So
Nice.
um, that's what I mean. Our employees really take care of our clients, which is a huge part to our success. Something I'm really grateful for.
Very cool. Very cool. So let's talk about our business mindset then. I've always felt like one of my strengths is knowing what are not my strengths. Knowing which things that
Right.
I'm if I spend time on, I'm wasting my time because one, I don't enjoy it, and two, I don't do a good job at it. And so I found other people to do it. We had talked a little bit about your philosophy and just kind of knowing, well, one, what your goals are, for your business and for your family. And then so why don't you talk a little bit about what your mindset is as an employer and how that's helped with your success, and your growth of your business.
Yeah. So one thing that's been huge for me is having. So I'm in the Conquer program. I don't know how many of you know about the Conquer program, but it's a company started by Josh Latimer and Brandon Vaughn. It's a program where you meet weekly with a coach, and all of the coaches have built seven-figure service businesses. And then you also meet with an accountability group. And so it's really great for the direction and just for holding you accountable, which has been everything for me because, like I said before, I'm a hard worker. I can go out and execute. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to work harder than anyone else. But one thing that's hard for me sometimes is knowing what's next. And so um, being in that group and having the mentors and the people who have done exactly what I'm trying to do that can tell me what I need to do next, and then I can go out and execute it. That has been priceless to me. I couldn't put a price tag on that. It's been so important. So that's been something that's been just huge to me, and I definitely wouldn't be where I'm at without that. So yeah.
So what, like, in the way that because you obviously give a lot of ownership towards your techs. You allow them to make decisions. You allow, you don't expect them to have to report everything back to you, so they've got a lot of leeway. How is that part of your, like, is that by design, or is that just something that just happened organically with the business?
Yeah, Gabe. So that absolutely was by design. I am what I'm trying to build, or what I'm going to build here with my business, is one that doesn't require a lot of my time at some point in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that the only way to get to there is to have employees that are able to make decisions on their own, ones that don't have to involve me in every single problem or question that they may have. So from the get-go, I let my technicians know that as long as it's something that's not going to cost us, more than $100 or whatever, and it's going to make the customer happy, go ahead and do it. I don't need to be involved in every single question, which has been a good thing, definitely. And I think it allows our technicians to feel more freedom and feel like they're more in charge, and they're helping to run the business as well. So that has worked out super well for us. And
Awesome.
obviously that could be a negative thing as well if you don't have the right people around and things like that. But that is my whole goal, is to build the business that doesn't require 50, 60 hours of my time every week.
Yeah.
So
it's really interesting you bring that up, Brian, because you know, for a long time I ran it with about one or two, to three people, and I was the same way. I gave a lot of freedom to my workers, and I expected them to be able to take ownership of decisions, to analyze a situation, make because I hire good people. I hire people who were smart and did well. As my business grew, I started finding it more difficult to find people who had those qualities, and a
right.
lot of the people that I hired uh, came from a background where they needed to be told every single thing what to do, and so I'm kind of stuck in the middle right now of, well, do I go all the way to the end of integrating systems? Like some of these companies have, books of, this is exactly how you do everything, and this is what we expect you to do, and if this situation happens, then you do this, and if this situation happens, you do this, and this is what, and everything is spelled out so specifically. Or do I stick to where I'm at and say, no, I'm gonna keep where I'm at, and I'm just gonna continue looking for the next person who can do that? Because honestly, I have two leads right now, and they're just like with yours, awesome. I trust them. I know that when they go, they're going to do the same level of work that I do. But as I hire more people, I have to have at least one lead per one tech who's learning, or maybe not quite with those qualities. So I'm kind of struggling right now to know where to go, as I still haven't found that third. I really need my third tech for me to be able to truly get off the glass, for me to kind of step away from the business. And man, that's just the one thing that's eluded me, is my third my third lead,
Right.
So
Well, good luck to you.
yeah,
Hopefully you'll find him soon.
I hope so. It's just one of those things where you have to just kind of, make a decision when it's time, and I'm not quite there yet. So I'm just kind of going along with what we can.
Right. And that's totally fine too. I mean, not that that's necessarily too much of a bad thing. So
yeah,
not a life and death, So that's good.
Yeah, I just, I don't want to give up hope. I don't want to give up hope that there's good workers out there.
Right.
I've gone through several techs, and man, just the common sense, it just doesn't seem like it's so common anymore, to be able to make a decision, or just to take accountability, to take accountability of their decisions that they make. It seems like it's kind of a lost art anymore.
Right.
But
well, a lot of people's stimulus money is going to be running out pretty soon, so
that's true. That is true.
A lot of good people out there looking for work. So
well, and the thing I tell myself too is, it just takes that one call, the one person to apply, or the one person to answer an ad, or like you say, just give you a call and say, hey, do you have work? So open for that. So anyway, really the main reason I wanted to talk with you is because I really am impressed with your marketing strategy. For you to grow so much in just a year and a half in your area. I know you've got a lot of guidance from the Conquer program, and I know you mentioned earlier you do flyers. But I think you mentioned also you do like Facebook advertising, and that's been really successful for you, that you have a really good ROI. And I just struggle with anything Facebook, you know. We do it, and we get some results, but nothing that's really, you know, wow, that we're so excited about. Could you talk a little bit about your strategy for marketing and how it's worked and helped you?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, what we do for marketing, like you just said, flyers. Flyers are big for us, and I'll go a little bit over our. I'm going to grab one right now. There's flyers right here. Our flyer strategy is a little different than most, in that we handwrite a price on each card. Well, I know a lot of people do this too, but I don't know if you can see that. So to say your window cleaning price, this one says 147. So what we do is beforehand, we will handwrite hundreds of these, and we have 4 different prices. And what that is just an exterior only price. But on the card, it doesn't say that. It just says your window cleaning price. So people call, they're like, oh, what does this include? So we tell them that is a real price. That is your exterior only price. Here's the price if you want to get into inside and screens or whatever. But I think that's why we do so well with flyers is people are already calling with an idea of what they're going to pay, even if they don't know exactly what that includes. So I've done a lot of data on it. Our cards bring about $1 per card put out. So we put out 10,000 a month. We know we're going to bring in about 10,000 revenue from those cards. And another thing we do is we hit the same neighborhoods over and over every month. So these people know us, trust us, and then I don't know if you can see here, but even like our van is on there, like the little that holograph or whatever you call it of our van. Yeah. So these look exactly like our vans, or a lot of our Facebook ads look like that. So people see our stuff over and over. And Window Ninjas is kind of something that people remember.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we do flyers. That works super well for us. Like I said, we did go away from a while. That's all I did when I started. I got so busy I couldn't do it anymore. So that's when we kind of started looking towards more Google and Facebook. Now that I'm out of the field, I have time. I go and put out flyers myself. Eventually, I will hire people to put out flyers because flyers do super well and they're very consistent, and it's something that is reliable. So there's flyers. We do Google ads and we do Google guaranteed. We have Michael Grigory runs our Google ads. They do a phenomenal job with them. I don't know anything about that, so I can't really give you any guidance on it. All I know is that it works for me, and having someone else do it is what's worked for me. But I know kind of the main thing that we wanted to focus on here is Facebook. I feel like Facebook is really my just what I'm really good at, and it's something that it's one of my best lead sources. Facebook and Google are usually pretty close for me, and they're actually all pretty close, flyers, Facebook and Google. But Facebook is definitely the cost per lead from Facebook is a lot less than Google for me. So kind of here's my strategy and what I do a lot of, a few different things. So we don't ever have ads that are running that we're spending like $15 a day on one ad. What we'll do is we'll run five ads at $3 a day. So there's a few things, a few little pointers. So I don't know if you've noticed, if you're just ever scrolling through Facebook, I'd say probably like 90% of the ads you see are going to be videos. That's kind of the way that Facebook marketing or just digital marketing in general has gone, is to videos. And I don't know exactly why that is. I think people like to see processes of companies. I think people like to see people's faces so that they already feel like they know, like, and trust them beforehand. So like right now I have a Facebook ad running that I've ran over and over and over for months that continues to bring in $3 or $4 leads. Wow. All day. Basically all it is it's a video of me squeegeeing a window, and it's a really long, super long post about our process. So I break it down from first we use Dawn dish soap, and we first wet the window with our mop, and then we use steel wool and go through the whole process. And it's the same process that every window cleaning company uses, but a lot of times people hire you and they don't know exactly what you're going to do. So somebody's seeing what the process is beforehand, they already trust you, and they see that you do all of these, I don't know, whatever it is, 10 steps, and they say, okay, this company's thorough, they're going to take care of my property. So I have that ad running. And then what I'll do is I'll go in neighborhoods. So like when my texts are out, usually once a day, or I try to go once a day. I need to do better about it, but I'll go out to the neighborhood, especially if it's one that we want to work in a lot. And I'll just record a video, and I'll say like, hey, this is Ryan with the Window Ninjas. We're here in the Weston Ranch community in Gilbert. And we're cleaning. This is what we're doing. We're cleaning the exterior windows, interior windows, and screens on this house. And then I'll usually like show in the video, I'll show our vans because our vans are wrapped real nice. And then I'll just say, if you live in this community and you're seeing this, we'd love to clean for you as well. Your neighbors already trust us. We'd love to earn your trust as well. And then what I'll do is I will boost that post and I'll create a custom audience of just, I'll put that address in and I'll just do that for like a mile or two around.
I like that.
And I don't want to go in. I mean, we don't need to go into the logistics of how to create audiences and stuff on Facebook.
No.
You can learn that on YouTube. It's actually super simple. Most people probably think it's hard, but it's not. So then people are seeing a very specific targeted video to them, like saying, I'm already in your community. We're already cleaning windows that at your neighbor's house. Why not let us clean your windows? And so we get a ton of leads that way.
I love that. That's a great strategy.
So typically we'll have the same ad running over and over. And I mean, I've literally ran that same ad, the one about how we clean windows, for 6 months straight now. And it always performs. Like, it never doesn't perform. So I'll run that, and then I'll have 3 or 4 other video ads running at the same time. And so people, and also the how we clean windows ad is boosted to our whole service area. So people are seeing that over and over, and then they'll see, oh, this company that I've been seeing is in my neighborhood. And then we're going to go flyer that neighborhood. And then if they search for Google, they're going to see us. So they've seen us over and over and over again, and all of our ads match. Everything matches. So people really recognize us. So that's worked super well for us. It's very simple. Anyone can do it. I know it's kind of scary sometimes to be on video, especially if you're not used to it, but like, it's not going to be perfect. It doesn't need to be perfect. People are going to like it more if it's not perfect.
Right.
If you say a lot, if you stutter, like, that's fine. People are going to see that you're a real person. And they're going to know, like, and trust you from seeing your face on video and seeing what your company's doing and that you're in their neighborhood.
Oh, I totally agree, Ryan. I have the same philosophy. You know, sometimes especially with the podcast, you know, we'll interview people and they'll be like, oh, I hope I don't do this. I'm like, you know what? Just do it. Is that how you normally speak? Then we want natural. We don't want polished, you know, because polished is you're trying to sell something. If you're natural, you're just talking, you know. And we know that what you're saying is right. And so it's got to translate to your customers as well.
Absolutely. Like I was saying, if you actually go scroll through Facebook and if you just watch people's ads, like, even huge companies are just doing like ads on their phone. Like, they're just, hey, we're so-and-so and this is what we do or whatever. Like, even super big profitable companies are advertising the same way, and it's on purpose. They're not doing that on accident. So really all you need is your phone and a little bit of knowledge of how to run Facebook ads, and you can kill it on Facebook. We consistently bring in like an 8 to 10x return. So if I spend $1,000 on Facebook ads in a month, I know it's going to bring 8 to 1,000 in, and it's consistent, works every time. It just takes a little bit of my time to actually get out and record the videos, create the custom audiences and boost it, but it is super worth it. And you're reaching so many people over and over and over again that just can't be reached in any other way for that price.
So how many custom ads are, like, when you're targeting a specific area per week, like how many different ones are you recording?
So I try to do about 1 a day in a neighborhood, and I'll let that ad run for 4 or 5 days and see how it does. If it does well, I'll boost the same post over and over until it stops doing well.
Gotcha.
Like I said, the more generalized one is always on, and then sometimes I'll run a couple other just random ones where that will be boosted to the entire area as well. But each of them we're only boosting for like $2 or $3 a day. So we never spend more than $1,000 a month in Facebook marketing.
Gotcha.
And sometimes it's even less than that. But all in all, we're usually spending 10 to 15 a day. But like I said, it's broken up into a few different ads. I've tried running just like that one really good ad that works really well for me. I've tried running it at like $10 a day, and it doesn't perform as well as you would expect. And I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why that is, but that's how it's worked for me. So.
Oh, very good. So let me ask this then. So you and you're the only one who does that, right? You don't have your techs do that. It's just you.
Yeah, for now, I need to get them doing more stuff like that, or that's a good idea. But yeah, for now it's just me. So people recognize me a lot. When they'll message us, they'll say like, "Oh yeah, I saw you on video," or whatever. Another thing with those ads, and what I found to work super well in my area, might not work as well in yours or whatever, is I always send them to Messenger. I've tried sending them to my website to fill out a quote form. I've tried even a funnel with ClickFunnels. But the best thing that's worked for me is just sending them straight to Messenger, where they'll just reach out. When they see the ad, when they click on it, it'll give them like some automated messages,
Right.
like you have to say, like, I'm interested. Can you tell me more, or whatever? And then another thing I do is I reply to every message like right away, unless it's like
Right.
8 o'clock.
Right.
Reply to it,
No, I'm the
but
same way.
I
Yeah.
reply like right away, and that's one thing we really pride ourselves on is like it's very rare that someone will fill out a quote form or message us on Facebook and not have a quote within like 30 minutes, because we
Wow.
actually do
That's
all
awesome.
we don't do them in person anymore, which has worked for me. It doesn't work for everyone. There's definitely pros and cons to both.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, we use ResponsiBid, and we use it knowing that it's only going to work about 80% of the time. 80% is it's going to be just right, maybe even more than if I would have gone on site to do the bid. But then there's going to be that 20% that I probably should go check it out, especially when it's really big, because
right,
people get real lazy about counting windows. And
right,
you don't want to show up on a $600 job and all of a sudden you're telling them it's going to be 1,200 and they don't like that so much.
right.
So, but
We think pretty much anything over about 5,000 to 6,000 square foot, we'll go and do it. We actually use ResponsiBid as well. I don't use it the same way though. I don't allow people to get a quote on my website. What I do is they fill out a quote request. I reach out to them with a few questions. Most of our pricing is based on square footage now rather than pane count. That's worked for us. So I use the ResponsiBid more for just sending out the quote, and then the follow up. Obviously, the ResponsiBid is amazing and that is so valuable. But yeah, so I use ResponsiBid. I just don't use it the same way exactly.
yeah, what made you decide to go to the square footage? Because I obviously I, people are afraid to do that. I mean, I know I am. Is it just I know it simplifies things, but would you say that it's pretty consistent in that getting the price that you want?
Yeah, it definitely has bitten us a couple times, like for sure. I mean, it happens for sure, but overall it has been consistent, and it's not like a straight square footage pricing exactly. Typically what I'm going to do is get on Google and look at the house on Google Maps. I'm going to kind of get an idea, because sometimes, like I found, at least for example, like when it comes to 2-story houses, like a 4,000 square foot house can have a lot of windows, and sometimes it can't have very many. Around here, thankfully, a lot of houses are very similar. In this part of Arizona, like the spec houses where every other house in the neighborhood is the same is pretty common. So I kind of use a mix of square footage, kind of gives me an idea of the range I need to be in. And then as I ask them a few questions, such as like if they have sunscreens or not, and how many sliding glass doors they have, and once I get on Google Maps and can kind of look at it, or look at the rental listings on Zillow, all of that together, I can come up with a really good price. And I'd say like 90% of the time it's spot on where we want to be. Where, like I said, we try to do about $100 per man per hour.
Okay, cool. Interesting. Yeah, it's something I've thought a lot about. I'm always about simplifying, and
Mm-hmm.
just like I said, even with the regular response bid, I'm as long as I understand 80% of the time, it's going to be fine. That's worth it to me, because that
Right.
alleviates me, having to drive out to 80% of the estimates that I do. A lot of my customers love it. I mean, they love being able to go on, get a price, and there's never any haggling, because the price has already been agreed on when we get there.
Mm.
And so it's just a lot of my reviews that I get because are just easy process to schedule, to get quotes. Especially the higher end people really like the ease of that. They are always commenting on how they hired me just because they knew what the price was.
Right. Yeah. And
So
I didn't go away from using like that ability on my website because of the prices being wrong. Of course, that happens every once in a while, and that wasn't a big issue. The issue was I was finding a lot of people were starting my quote form and not finishing it. I don't know if there was too many questions on there or if it was just too much for them, but a lot of people, my bounce rate was pretty high. So once we went just to a normal quote form where I then reach out with a few questions and then send the quote through ResponsiBid, that's worked better for us. But it's one of those things that's like not going to work for everyone.
yeah,
Obviously, it works really well for you.
exactly.
So
Yeah, you kind of streamline it to work for you, however it goes.
right.
Very cool. So one more question about Facebook. So how are you tracking the success rate for it? To know whether the ads are pulling in the money? Like how are you verifying that data?
Big way is through ResponsiBid. So
Okay.
we send all of our quotes through ResponsiBid, even the ones that reach out on Facebook. Like 95% of our leads go through ResponsiBid. Every once in a while, someone will call and I'll just give them a price. But ResponsiBid's reports are really good. So I can see how many people requested a quote through Facebook, how many converted to a job, and how much revenue it brought in. And you can even break it down by specific periods or whatever. So having something in place like that has been very helpful. It would be really hard to track the return if I was just giving all the quotes through Facebook Messenger.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
To track. So yeah, ResponsiBid is big for that. And I'm a huge fan of ResponsiBid. Kurt, actually, the owner, lives here in Arizona. I've went to a couple of times. Super good guy.
I wanted to go to the ResponsiBid con that they had, and it was between that and the IWCA convention. And I just I do so much with IWCA. I had to go to that one.
I bought a ticket and I was supposed to go, but my daughter was born that day, so it didn't work out.
Well, I suppose we'll let you get off the hook for that one.
So I was able to sell my ticket actually we rent this office space from a maid service here, and they use ResponsiBid too, so they bought my ticket, so it worked out. But,
oh, nice. So it wasn't wasted.
Yeah, I'm out on that because I heard it was a super good event. So
yeah, people went and loved it.
My backyard to go to, but
very cool. Well, Ryan, I can't thank you enough. I mean, it's obvious that what you're doing is working, and I really wish you more success and just continued growth. And just like you said, just for it to work for your family and to find that balance, and for you to be able to focus on the business end like you want. I really hope you reach those goals soon. But just really impressed with as young as you are, how far that you've already come. So that really is a testament to the dedication, the discipline, and the hard work and work ethic that you have. It's come across and translated into success for your business. So very, very happy for that. And thank you so much for talking and sharing so much of your tips, man. Those are going to be really helpful to a lot of people in ITF.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for having me, Gabe.
All right, man. Well, thanks so much. Have a great evening. Thank you, Flomies, for listening. And we look forward to the next podcast. But thanks again. I hope you guys have a nice evening, and we will catch you later.